Good evening, sir. My name is Yashwant Shivam. My register number is 19C119. I belong to slot A. The topic that I have selected is drug discovery, which comes in the topic of Unit 5, that is traditional knowledge in manufacturing and industries. Okay. So the first one is drug discovery initiation. So in early ages of life, there was only herb and herbal painkillers were used mostly. So one of the famous herb is bark of willow tree. Like in that there is a compound named salicin, which came from the name salix, which was majorly used for pain relief. So for further process, what happened is they came to know about that salicin gets converted into salicylic acid, which was the main reason for alleviating pain and which acts as a pain relief substance. So then the chemistry began to develop in the future, due to which industries and textiles were also developing. So then scientists came to know about more compounds. So they made different kind of substances uh, combining salicylic acid to alleviate pain and to provide the pain relief substance. So that was the time where industrialization was going to happen. Yeah, next one. So emerge of industrialization and impact on drugs. So since there was this trend of industrialization, there were many industries coming, and there was similarly this involvement of drug industries too, since many industry were coming in drug industry. There was one company named German company named Bayer, in which Felix Hoffmann is a Bayer chemist, who like modified the substance, salicylic acid substance, to make his own substance, which was named as aspirin. So it was an chemically modified substance of salicylic acid, which was acting as an which also gives you pain relief. So seeing this, Bayer company manufactured it and patented it after finding its huge properties value. So during that time there was World War One, where British could not get aspirin from this German company. So the British government encouraged its researchers and scientists to develop one for them. So they came up with their own tablet named Aspro, which was renamed as Lewis in 2003. Successes like this led to continuation of new drug discovery, such was the discovery of penicillin, other diseases which can be treated using this drug, like smallpox and other stuff which came after this. So the basic conclusion was that due to this industrialization, there was huge growth in drugs industries too, and there were new drugs being discovered, since new industries were able to make new modified drugs which can alleviate pain. And see, in during the World War, there was many research going on how to make another aspirin too. Next one is impact of drugs to pregnant women and testing. Side by side, this industrialization was going on. Same way, there was a kind of catastrophic environment created due to this drug. The drug name is thalidomide. So this drug was marketed as a mild sleeping pill, safe even for pregnant women. So what this caused malformed limbs to the newly born children. So it was really a fearful situation. The drug was then withdrawn by the government with stringent regulation that it must be tested before the drug is approved. Okay, so due to this testing, what happened is the cost of the drug became increased. Like in 2006, estimated that it took around 1.395 billion, according to Tufts Center for Study for Drug Development, which is around 900 crores. So that much amount of money it increased due to testing and clinical trials to get approval for the common people. So the drug normally took around take max to max around 12 years to reach to the market. In this period, the investors make up money like around 1.163 billion dollars, which is around 750 crores. So the major drawback of this drug discovery was that only big pharmaceutical giants were only given this opportunity to discover drugs, but no other outsiders were allowed. So that was the major thing. So from this you can conclude that from this segment you can conclude that so without proper testing, the drugs are now not given to the customer directly. So a proper testing needs to be done, which has given a rise to the drug cost, and as well as the cost is too much, like it's around 1.395 billion to produce one drug. It's too costly. And also there was drawback because there were no other big players apart from pharmaceutical chains. Next is the important the famous one, the story of anti-malarial drug. So there was like actually already an anti-malarial drug discovered which was named as quinine, which was developed by the scientists in Peru. But malaria evolved and it became even drug resistant. It's a major impact you can see in the US-Vietnam War, where around 5 lakh US military soldiers were affected and were dying. In that time, Vietnam seek help from its Chinese allies. Uh, like they were even the Chinese allies were researching on this, and they were not able to succeed in finding uh, an anti-malarial drug because the tests were constantly giving them a negative result. So finally, a young researcher named Yu Tu came. Uh, she's, she actually graduated from the Beijing Medical College. Tu started her work by collecting all information related to Chinese traditional medicine and all the medicines and prescription that can be used for each disease. So basically, she discovered all this Chinese medical traditional as well as Chinese medicals which can treat different diseases. She also interviewed some of the Chinese medical practitioners for prescription for using such kind of medicines, like for internal as well as for external use. So like what happened is she was heading a project for developing this anti-malarial drug. She also came up with the anti-malarial drug, but what happened was she wasn't able to completely kill the parasite, only partially. So she came to know that it was due to its extraction process. So the extraction, like through melting or through heating, the herb's actual contents, sometimes it gets demolished, so you cannot see the proper result. So she redesigned the extraction process and repeated the experiment. Now this resulting extract had that potent to kill all the parasites. So that active component which was able to do this was identified as artemisinin. This was the major component. So this was the basic story about the anti-malarial drug. You can say that the anti-malarial drug became too concerned when during the US-Vietnam War. So then there was a young researcher named Yu Tu. She came into the picture and she developed the new anti-malarial drug named artemisinin. Okay. Next comes the invention of anti-malarial drug. This is the woman Yu Tu who made this artemisinin drug. Finally, the Chinese scientists, with the help of Tu, were able to invent this anti-malarial drug, and their clinical trial was very successful. Because of this, Chinese scientists joined hand with them, and they were divided into two separate research scientists. Like first pact of scientists were discovering the plants and the region where this kind of artemisinin plant can be identified, where it can be harvested, and they finally found out a process. With their analysis and process, they were able to find out a plant which can provide more number of artemisinin with pure quality, okay, in local plant region. but simultaneously other team were looking at the structure of that artemisinin compound structure. They were doing the chemical analysis part, like they were studying about the compound and chemical structure and their spectral behavior. Okay. Next was acceptance of anti-malarial drug artemisinin. So what happened was, after this clinical trial, there were many syntheses going on. Like different scientists were able to synthesize different kind of artemisinin. Uh, like they were finding the varieties of anti-malarial drug. So in 1983, Smith and Hafez published a method for total synthesis of artemisinin. Other synthesis methods were also followed after that. So artemisinin was finally approved and launched by China Food and Drugs Administrator in 1984 5. But many countries did not accept it because they only know little about the clinical trial and they weren't much satisfied. So even some artemisinin was water insoluble. So that is one property, that is it is water insoluble, and it is also poorly soluble in lipids, and it was little bit difficult to understand its structure and administer them. So finally some researchers and scientists were able to make it water soluble by combining with other components. In that way they were able to bring two other drugs, like it was emerged from that water soluble of artemisinin. So that was artemether and artesunate, which were developed. So this was the other two, you can say, byproduct of that process, but you got another two drugs, anti-malarial drugs. So then China did not limit to its region. They also collaborated with World Medicine, and they also did a trial along with quinine. That is, they did a trial with intravenous artesunate and intravenous quinine. So they found that 34.7% was the lower mortality rate using intravenous artesunate. So after seeing that, WHO in 2006 first time made a change by stating that for severe malarial cases, anti-malarial artemisinin can be used instead of quinine. Then USA FDA, that is Food and Drug Administration, approved in 2009 with the help of group of member named Novartis. They were also making a collaboration with the Chinese scientists in discovering new drugs, and also they redesigned the laboratories as well as the procedure to to analyze the chemical compounds and other aspects. So like next 6 years later, UU2, that is on 2015, UU2 was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine. This was the great achievement in the field of drugs. Okay, so here you can conclude that it was accepted worldwide with its efficacy in fighting malarial parasite, and you can even see that it was approved by US, it was approved by China, and also in other parts of the world. Even WHO regulated its process. Okay. Next is general drug discovery process. The drug discovery process takes place in 4 stages. First one is we can identification of a gap area in existing disease. Like what we can do is for the existing disease itself, we can make some kind of improvement by increasing its efficacy to make it even more stronger, or we can research and investigate about find a new drug by investigating our own self, by looking at the properties like chemical compound properties, its application method, etc. Then doing laboratory tests to check its effectiveness, its adverse effect when it's not used properly, and administering them by giving trials through mice and other animals. Then comes extensive clinical trials on human in several phases using statistically valid design. So the clinical trial, what happens is it starts with small groups, then it is given in larger scales. So that's it. These are the 4 normal processes. First process is just modification or making such kind of improvement in which efficacy increases, or discovering a whole new drug by ourselves by investigating about its properties and application method. Third one is just doing laboratory test. Fourth one is of testing clinical trials. So next comes drug research and development in India and drawbacks. So India has that capability to do clinical trial because there are huge population. So because of this, Indian pharmaceutical industry is recognized today as a global leader in the production of high quality generic drugs. But still India cannot develop its own drug because of the financial constraint, as R&D budget for our research and development is around only 650 crores, which is not sufficient for developing a new drug. So CSIR, which is the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, it launched BGR 34. It was designed for type 2 diabetes, claiming it is claimed that it is the first successful Ayurvedic medicine. It also got approved by Ministry of Ayush. CSIR also launched two other herbal products, one named Memory Plus and another named Asmon, and also they launched an anti-malarial drug named Ayush 64. The biggest drawback of this was they did not maintain any credential, like their credential was remain obscured, and even good scientists and capable leaders were not able to link the laboratories to fields by making such amateurish claims. So here you can see the drug research and development area in India, why it wasn't able to develop new drugs because of the budget constraint, and also because of the scientists who weren't able to their full capabilities or potential. Use of TKDL. TKDL is traditional knowledge digital library for research and discovery, and its challenges. Okay, so here the major problem was that the foreign international patent offices were not patenting some kind of researchers and drugs by considering the TKDL database. So, but it gets approved by the Indian patent offices, but foreign international patent offices was not giving that patent. So in 2012, similar stuff happened where Avesta again is a person who has given a patent to the European office. But what happened is in 2012, this grant was declined by consulting the TKDL information which was given by CSIR, but it got approved by Indian Patent Office. So this was because there was no transparency in TKDL. So TKDL can be very useful. It can greatly simplify the search process and reduce the chances of failed attempts. And also considering reducing cost is the best way to do it. But there was another challenge in that TKDL was not accessible for research purpose even by CSIR scientists, and some also did not allow you to use TKDL to preserve that information. But on 2016, National IPR came up with the policy which announced that public research institution should be allowed to access to TKDL for further research and development. And even the private sector is also allowed with necessary safeguards and other prevent misappropriation practices. They were able to do research and development. So that's it with regarding TKDL, and thank you. Hope you like my presentation. Hope you gained information regarding the drug discovery